What is up? What is up, people? We have another great show lined up for you today. This is actually a continuation of a video we shot maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now about this very topic of what do real people say? What do locals say about living in Fairfax County? Now, we moved to the Fairfax County area back in 2013. We moved up from New Orleans in search of a better environment, a better future, a better atmosphere for our kids, our two young boys. At that time, they were, I think, 3 and 5, right? So we moved up here to kind of time our oldest son going straight into the public school system. And there were several things that we researched before we made it to the area that we thought were important, right? Like schools, quote unquote, the best areas to live in, what to expect, like different things that you start to Google and you start to research during this relocation process that we thought were important, right? And I'm pretty sure you're going through the same thing, right? Well, that was 2013. Now that we've been here almost 9 years, some of the things that we've learned along the way it's a little different, right? There are some things that we should have asked that we did not ask, and that's what this series is about, right? So the video one. Part 1 is up. If you want to check out that video, there will be a link right here, right? And there will also be a link in the description to the part 1 of what locals say about living in Fairfax County. So after watching this video series, you should be able to say, I'm a local, more or less, right? At least by knowledge. Once you move to the area, you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's start the show. So my name is Abraham Walker, and I'm your favorite Northern Virginia YouTube real estate agent. On this real estate channel, we do the research so you don't have to, right? And so if you think about moving or relocating anywhere in the Northern Virginia area, look in the description and click the link to the Perfect Home questionnaire. That questionnaire is a brief survey. Once you complete that survey, we can start the process of talking to you and answering any questions that you may have about the Northern Virginia area. Relocating to Northern Virginia, Fairfax County, Arlington, Loudoun, Prince William County, all those areas will assist you with that process. So check out the description in the link below, the Perfect Home questionnaire, to start that process. So enough about me. What do locals say about living in Fairfax County? What do locals say about that process? And the first thing that you should know when you move to this area is that commuting here is different, right? So along the 95 corridor, which is one of the major interstates in this area, it was voted as one of the worst traffic areas in the country, right? So commuting here is different. So if you're thinking that you're just going to be commuting via your car, well, there are actually other options. You can drive to work, of course, but even when you drive to work, you can use the HOV lane, which is high occupancy vehicle lane. That's where you pay a premium to be on a different part of the road. You could take the bus, you could take the VRE, which the VRE is a train that has a few stops throughout the region. The train line is usually on the same line as the metro line. You can also take the metro, and then there's carpooling, right? In addition to carpooling, there's actually 2 types of carpooling. There's carpooling that's traditional carpooling, where maybe you and some individuals from work maybe live around the same area, you all get together. Then there's also a van pooling service, right? So there's different options for you to get around in the Northern Virginia, Fairfax County area, right? Another thing to consider is that your employer will also, well, some employers may offer you like a monthly benefits to offset your parking or your commuting expenses. Some employees have been known to offer a, a Metro Pass, right? Where they'll not only pay for the cost that it should take you to catch the metro to and from your home, but they also pay for the parking fees associated with parking your car at the metro station. So every employer has different perks. Some employers don't have any perks, but that's an option, right? So commuting here, you have multiple ways to get around. When it comes to the metro line, throughout Fairfax County, there's actually four metros that actually run through the area. There is the orange, blue, yellow, and silver lines. These metro stops are usually, the price ranges around these metro stops are a little bit more expensive. So if you're looking for homes that have quick access to the metro, then you'll just know that you'll pay a premium for these locations, but it is an option for you, right? So if you don't like to drive and you want to just jump on public transportation, that is an option for you in Fairfax County and some parts of Fairfax County. Now, there's this one piece of commuting here that we found quite interesting, and it's called slugging. Slugging is a fascinating invention. So what happens is a group of people get together at this predetermined location, which you can find out more information. I'll put the link in the description to where you can find out more information about the slug lines. But these individuals all park near a predetermined location, and they share rides with each other in their personal cars, right? So strangers jump into strangers' cars to take advantage of the HOV system, right? Like the high occupancy vehicle system is a product of that you have to have a certain number of occupants in your car to not have to pay to use that service. So these individuals, these strangers will just jump each other's cars, and it's no one thinks nothing of it. I mean, when we moved here, we thought it was the strangest thing. But up here, it makes complete sense, right? Like sometimes the HOV fees to get on the easy pass lanes. I mean, sometimes they could be as much as $20 one way, right? On 66, they could be as much as $50 one way. So to save that money, people have invented this slug system. It's called slugging. So that's a thing. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description so you can find out more information about it. So the next thing locals talk about, and something that you just won't learn from Googling, is you'll learn about the snow days, right? So with snow days, and snow in general, if you talk to some people who are not familiar with this area, they will almost paint the picture that it snows every year here. That's just not the case. It's just not the case. I'm making this video in 2021 where we actually had snow this year, and I would say traditionally we usually have snow around the February time period. Late January, some parts of February, and so it does snow every 2, 3, 4 years. So it's not something that you can expect on a regular basis. But when it snows, it gets a little wacky here because people aren't used to it snowing here, and because Fairfax County is a transient area, and so because it's a transient area, people are moving from all parts of the country and all parts of the world, and maybe they've never lived in snow. So they really don't know how to drive on that slippery surface. And what you'll see is, this usually bothers individuals who are from the north, the true north. What you'll see is that schools are shut down, right? In addition to schools shutting down, you'll also see businesses it's more or less shut down, or tell the employees that they do not have to come in that day. All for what really sometimes it's just a couple flurries. Now, what you have to consider is when it snows or when there's a threat of snow. Fairfax County is a very large county, and it would be, if it was a city, it would be the 10th largest city in America. That means that there are northern parts of Fairfax County that will get more snow than other parts, which is one of the main reasons why the there's so much precaution taken, because our area isn't, the county doesn't have the government agency doesn't have the equipment to maintain or handle the snow, right? People here don't have the experience of driving in the snow, so it just makes more sense, since it's an event that happens so rarely, for a lot of the area just to kind of shut down, to close down. So that's one thing you'll learn about snow days. Another thing you'll learn is that if you're a government contractor, which there are several individuals who live in this area who are government contractors, your contract may not have a clause in it that says that you'll get paid if your government contracting agency chooses to take a snow day. And the reason why this is important is because your contract, you may work for a entity that contracts out for one of the government buildings in DC. Well, if the DC building, right, the government building is closed because of a snow day, then you're not going into work. So you just want to ask your employer about that. There may be ways that they offset your salary or your pay during that snow period, right? That snow day. Sometimes we've seen employers just ask that you work more time in that particular pay period if you do miss a day because of a snow day. It's just that, it's just a part of the process. One more comment about snow is that in this area, usually the county or your HOA will take care of the snow removal on the street, but you're responsible for your sidewalk, your doorstep, your car. So you will need some equipment, even though it only happens every 2, 3, 4 years, right? As infrequently as it happens, you'll still need some equipment to manage this process, right? So that means that you probably need to get a shovel, snow shovel. You want to get an angled shovel, right? So like you don't want to get a straight line shovel. You want to get an angle shovel. Those are better on your back. And you'll need to get something that removes the snow from your car, right? There's a little brush that I use myself that has something to scrape the window and to a brush to remove the snow itself from the vehicle, right? So that's equipment that, if you're from I'm from the South, so we didn't have this equipment up in the South, and this is something you'll need to purchase when you move to this area. You'll also need a real jacket. You'll need a real coat, right? Like this, sometimes it's 20 degrees. It doesn't get into the teens that often, right? That's a rare event, but it will get into the 20s sometimes, almost every year, really. So you'll need a real jacket. This is not sweater weather, right? And again, with the snow removal, just one more thing you need to know about snow removal. In Northern Virginia, there are developments where properties are built on what are called pipe stems. Pipe stems are streets that are not maintained by the county. They are more or less like a private road where multiple homes are responsible for the main street. Well, if you live on a pipe stem, then you're responsible for the snow removal of that street, right? So I always tell my clients when we're looking at homes with pipe stems, hey, you have to know that in a normal situation, you may not have to be that cordial or friendly with your neighbor, but on a pipe stem, you need to get to know your neighbor. You could, because you all are in this together. When that street is filled with snow, when it's time to repave that road, these are all things that you're going to be responsible for, and that's everything with snow days. Now, a touchy topic, at least in my household, is the nature of living in such a transient area, right? So the DC metro area is one of the most transient areas in the country, and it's one of the most expensive areas in the country. So it's very often you will see, like, especially in like my kids' class, where the kids that you start the school session off with are not the kids that end the school session, right? So the between the military moving in and out of the area through their PCS orders, through government employees that are attached to certain politicians moving in and out of the area because of the election cycles, government contractors obtaining contracts and losing contracts. We have foreign services, right? So we have different embassy workers that live here, are employees of the embassy who are only here for 2, 3, 4 years sometimes. We have State Department employees, and then there's just like random people who are relocating to the area, right? Just normal people, normal citizens. And not to mention, we have 17 Fortune 500 company headquarters here, right? So there's a lot of reasons for people to move in and out of this area. You want to just prepare yourself for your friends, right? Your friends leaving in the middle of the year, or maybe after 4 years, right? Like there's just like this cycle of people leaving, and in June, usually my kids are usually filled with tears a little bit. So, and I would say that even on our end, we're not filled with tears, but we've had several friends, good friends, who left the area, right? And it wasn't really, and it wasn't like they were retiring either. It was, because when somebody retires, living in a high cost of living area, it can be, you can assume that they're going to move out of the area, right? But for some individuals, right, I'm a younger guy. You'll see somebody in their 40s, early 40s, late 30s, that are leaving, and it's because their job requires that they move a lot, right? So that's just something you want to consider when moving here, right? I'm not saying that you should have like a questionnaire that you have people answer to be your friend, but it's just something that you want to get used to. All right, so let's take an intermission right now. Thank you so much for sticking with me thus far. If you have any questions, you can post those questions down below in the comment section. I'll answer a couple of those right now. But let me know if you're still here by typing "What do I say?" Right? What do I say? Just type "What do I say?" In the comment section, and let me know if you've lived somewhere. How long did it take you to get acclimated with the environment, right? To start thinking like a local. Let me know how long of a time period that took for you. Since you're watching this video, I can assume that you're either thinking about buying a home in this area or you are relocating to this area. I want to welcome you. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to this live stream. If you have any pressing needs, or if you're ready to kind of take that next step in the relocation process, I have a perfect home questionnaire for you. You can click on it in the description area, and you can start the process of relocating to the area. Once you complete that quick survey, it's just a few questions, I think like 7 questions. We'll schedule a time to meet online via Zoom, and then I can answer any additional questions you have about the Northern Virginia area. All right, so we don't have any new comments right now, so we could jump into the next section, which is locals like to talk about the parks, the parks and recreation in this area, right? You're going to be very pleased if you're an outdoor person, or if you just like to be active in general. You're going to be very pleased with moving to this area, and a lot of the information online doesn't really talk much about how wonderful the park system is in Fairfax County. Um, Fairfax County specifically has something called the Fairfax County Park Authority, right? And then there's a separate entity called the Northern Virginia Parks, right? So Fairfax County Park Authority has 427 parks. That's right, 427, and over 325 miles of trails. Now, I actually walked. I walk several of the parks a lot with my kids, sometimes with my wife, and I actually videoed. I recorded one of them. So for Huntley Meadows, I'm going to put a link right here to that video, so you can kind of see the walk around that particular park. If you're a bird lover, you're going to love this video. And then I also put a link in the description. So within these 400 plus parks in the Fairfax County system, you'll find 9 rec centers, right? So 9 recreation centers. They call them rec centers when you move here. The rec centers have swimming pools, fitness centers, gyms, class space. Some of them even have indoor water parks. Yes, indoor water parks. There's also some outdoor water parks attached to some of the facilities in Fairfax County. There's also public golf courses, tennis courts, several nature centers, right? Ice rink and marinas where you could kayak, and canoeing centers, right? So that's the Fairfax County Park section. Well, there's also the Northern Virginia Parks, where the Northern Virginia Parks is a little bit more than 10,000 acres throughout the Northern Virginia area, which is going to include parks, trails, nature reserves, historic sites, and this is all throughout Northern Virginia. Now, these sites are located in Arlington, Fairfax, and Fairfax County and Loudoun County. At this very moment, the time I record this video, there are 33 regional parks. Now, lastly, on the park side of the game, there are also national parks here. One of my favorite national parks here is actually Great Falls. Great Falls, actually, it's on the border of the Virginia and Maryland border. And at this park, you can see the other side, which is Maryland. Maryland looks the same, but that's not what really makes this park unique. The waterfall at this park is breathtaking. You'll find yourself spending several minutes, if not hours, just staring at this waterfall. So within the Fairfax County area, right? So a short drive, you can make it to Great Falls to see this waterfall system. If you move to this area, I highly recommend scheduling some time, scheduling a trip, pack yourself a little lunch, right? Some sandwiches, some chips, some fruit, and go to Great Falls. It's a beautiful place. You don't want to miss it. All right, so my family and I will we love the libraries. We love libraries in general. Even when we were in New Orleans, we used to frequent the New Orleans Public Library, also the Jefferson Parish Public Library. So we're big library people. We love reading. We love consuming audiobooks that are offered by the library system. Well, several years ago, the library systems started their campaign to move a lot of their services online. So in this online campaign to reach more younger members of the community, they started offering the service called Overdrive. Overdrive. They houses audiobooks and Kindle or e-reader or PDF books. Right. This is a great platform. It's similar to the Amazon Kindle and the what is it called, Audible by Amazon, but it's a free version, right? So it's all included in your library system, right? Once we found out about that, I mean, we really started to dive deep into the library system. Well, Fairfax County is no different. Fairfax County libraries also offer those same amenities, right? Those same perks, which is Overdrive, RB Digital, Canopy, Hoopla, and they offer uh, some learning tools that we use in my family as well, which is lynda.com, Rocket Languages, and Mango. Now, if you can't find all of those inside of Fairfax County, don't worry. There, Fairfax County, because we are we're close to several different areas. We actually have reciprocity for the other library systems. Now, what does this mean? This means that with your Fairfax County ID and your Fairfax County address, you can actually secure library cards to other areas, other library systems in the Northern Virginia area, right? So when I heard about this, because I use Overdrive, the audiobook and the Kindle book service on a regular basis, I went crazy and I actually signed up for almost every library that you can find in this area. So I have a Fairfax County Library card. I have an Arlington County Library card. I have a City of Alexandria. I have Loudoun County, Prince William County, Washington, D.C., and Prince George, right? Prince George is in Maryland, but they also provide reciprocity to Fairfax County residents. With that being said, whenever I want a book, I can usually find it pretty quickly because I have access to all those library online systems, right? So again, once you move here, make sure you get your library card, right? And make sure you go pass through some of the other regions to pick up their library card so you can get access to their online systems. I highly recommend it. It's a game changer if you like to consume content online, right? Um, my kids are 10 and 12 right now, but they love the Hoopla accounts that they get from. I don't think Fairfax County actually has Hoopla. I think it's one of the other library systems, but they love the Hoopla account because Hoopla has comic books online, right? And so what they are able to do is they read the comic books. I think Hoopla provides you with 12 checkouts per month. So my boys get their 12 comic books and they read them every month like clockwork, right? Usually they read them in like less than 2 days, but that's another story for another day. So that's the library system. Something you'll probably learn once you move here, but now that you watch this video, you don't have to worry about it. All right, so let's talk about just a few miscellaneous things that don't really fit into any group. One amazing thing is Amazon offers same day shipping. That's right. On select items, not everything, but there are some Amazon fulfillment centers here. So that means that you'll be shopping for Amazon once you put your address into the Amazon system, and they'll tell you that some of the items you can get, same day. Like we've ordered something, at like like 9 o'clock in the morning, and it comes at 4 o'clock that same day. I mean, I've ordered something at one time at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m., and it was delivered like around 7. That's crazy. This is one of those perks that, it's a gift and a curse, right? So if you're one of those impulse buyers, you're probably going to have to figure out some type of healthy relationship with you and Amazon. Another thing that's really weird living here is that there aren't that many drive-through coffee shops, right? Like Starbucks, for some reason, doesn't have that many drive-through coffee shops. Even the regular coffee shop, drive-through coffee isn't really a local coffee shop type of move or offering. But even the Starbucks, like a lot of the Starbucks here, are all walk-in coffee shops. You would think that with more than 1.3 million residents all throughout the Northern Virginia area, that there would be a lot of drive-through coffee shops. That they aren't. That's just something you have to get used to. Next up, allergies here are crazy. Like if you have allergies, like you're going to have it's possible you're going to have worse allergies when you move up to Northern Virginia. If you've never had allergies, you may actually develop them because of living in Northern Virginia. The main reason is Northern Virginia is so close to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. receives several trees and flowers from different parts of the world as gifts, right? So there's the cherry blossom, right? Which the cherry blossom festival is a byproduct of the trees that I believe that were gifted to us from Japan, right? So your sinuses may not be prepared for all of the new pollen that is located in this area. So your allergies are going to be, it's possible your allergies are going to be crazy. So just prepare for that. Lastly, if you're a government contractor or if you work for the government in general, the government shuts down. Yeah. If you lived anywhere else in America, you probably didn't really pay much attention to those government shutdowns. But we've been here since 2013. I think the government's already shut down maybe 3 times. I had no clue that the government just shut down like that, like just regularly, and it's due to the different political parties having challenges passing the budget, right? So this is a thing here, and just recently there was a government shutdown that I believe lasted for an extended period of time, and they had some government contractors or government employees that were going to food kitchens, right? Because they weren't able to meet their needs. So if you work for the government, you should. It's in your best interest to have a rainy day fund, right? A government shutdown fund, so that maybe it's like a month of your living expenses should be just put in reserve, because it seems like the government shutdowns are happening more frequently, right? And this is something you don't really research, right? You don't really see about it, you don't really hear much about it, and really, if you Google government shutdown, you'll find more content about it. But as soon as the government reopens, all of the content disappears, right? It just goes away. So that's something that happens here. So if your employment is tied to the government in any way, right? So maybe you're not a government contractor, maybe you're not a maybe you don't work directly for the government, but maybe your business services the government, right? In the sense, maybe you work for a restaurant and it's located near a government agency. If the government shuts down, those people don't go to work, your business is going to be slow during that time period. So those are the miscellaneous items. And now we're at the end. So there you have it. That's pretty much everything you need to know before moving to Fairfax County. Like I said, this is part 2. This is the second part of a 2-part series, right? So I'll put a link to the second video right up here. I mean, the first video, part 1 of what locals say about moving to Fairfax County. And there'll also be a link in the description, and that's practically everything, right? So maybe like 10 years of information after watching these 2 videos, and you should be better prepared to acclimate to this new environment, to thrive, in this area and to properly prepare for what to expect. In addition to the video I mentioned about the part one, we also have this particular video and others like it will be in a playlist called "Where to Move, Where to Live in Fairfax County." The link to that playlist will be right here, and then I also put a link to that playlist in the description. What do you think? If you live in Fairfax County, you're watching this video, what do you think? Did I miss anything? What should we add to this list? We'll build on this list and maybe do a part 3 in the future if I come across anything that I missed. If you don't live here, what do you think? What do you think about this video? Maybe you moved to this area and did you find this information helpful? Is it something that will meet your needs, right? If you want more information about Fairfax County and moving to the Fairfax County area, click the link in the description to the Perfect Home questionnaire. That questionnaire will schedule. We'll start the process of scheduling a one-on-one session with myself and yourself, and we can talk about. I can answer any questions that you may have about moving to Northern Virginia specifically, and kind of get that ball rolling on your end. It's just a short survey, maybe like 7 or 8 questions to then move on to like a Zoom session to answer your questions. And that's it. That's it for today's show. I'm glad if you made it this far, even in the rebroadcast, I'm glad you stuck along with us. Stay tuned for future episodes, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.